All right, this time we'll try it with a pick. Once again, this is the learning process. You have to do it um, a lot of times. You got to get the timing right, the feel, a sense of what the singer's doing. Uh, there's a lot that goes into all these parts, and it's like a puzzle. It really is like a puzzle, and the coolest part is when it finally comes together and like it sounds good. The key part is eventually, you know, it sounds good, but like don't feel like um I don't know, whatever song you listen to, whatever is the best song ever, like it was the first run, like I don't care if it's Led Zeppelin or Nirvana, whatever band you like. Don't feel like they went to the studio, locked it down, and went home and drank beer that day. Some of these, they spend weeks, months in the studio trying to actually get it right. And actually, little known fact, unless you do like the research and stuff, there's a lot of famous albums out there where the band members that the famous guitar players or whoever, they don't even play on the record. Beach Boys are a great example. So many bands in the '60s. I mean, there's this famous studio. I guess you would call them a band almost. Like they're called the Wrecking Crew, where bands would come in, like real bands, and they're like, okay, here's our songs. And the Wrecking Crew would actually like lay down the tracks, okay, so the record actually sounds good, and the musicians were good enough to, perform live. You get through, and the cool thing about live is it's always different anyway. Ideally, it's kind of fun when it's different every time. But for the record, they would hire the Wrecking Crew. Because they were perfect. Like they could actually like get all the chords, and really perfect and really solidify the song. Okay, and then obviously, you have the artist. They write the lyrics. They write the tune and how it should go and stuff like that. But studio is so hard because it has to be perfect, and real people aren't perfect, especially if you're a garage band that happens to get discovered and shit like that. You don't play perfect, but that's also what people like. It's like a double-edged sword kind of thing. But the Wrecking Crew was so cool, and there's an amazing documentary on Netflix floating around, and it shows that how they laid down the tracks to like so many famous songs. I mean, I don't want to name any of them, but because our heroes, we like to revere them and shit like that. But yeah, there's a lot of famous albums out there that you're not actually hearing the band. You're hearing like the studio musicians, the Wrecking Crew, laying it down. But if you do find the live tracks, yeah, that's them. And you'll notice it doesn't sound like the record, which is also amazing. I don't, I like I like records. And my dad really likes the perfect sound of the studio. He's always been the biggest fan of he wants to hear, like how it, the studio master version. He likes that part. I like that. I do. But I also like the messiness and uncertainty of live. Like when bands play things a little bit differently. And my favorite band, Nirvana. I mean, I love how the lyrics fucking change. Whether he forgets them or doesn't feel like singing them. Perfect example. They're touring Italy in like '93, I think it was. Maybe early. I think it was 1993. They're touring Italy, and and then instead of they're doing "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and you sing the same song 80,000 times. I love how Curdy. I love how Kurt would change the lyrics sometimes, and he'd be like, so they're in Italy this one time, and he's like, instead of saying a mulatto or my libido, a mosquito, a mulatto, whatever the lyrics are, because he's in Italy, he says a gelato, because Italy or whatever. I like that. I like that. I like that part. I don't like the perfection part. I do, like, I appreciate it. I'd like, it's really cool when you hear. I like both. Really, is what I'm saying. Is like, it's cool to hear the track, the record, and it's always there, and like you could just, it's comforting to you can go back to it. But I like live too because I like the uncertainty. I like, how are they going to sound? How are they going to play? Different key. The lyrics, are they going to say the same shit? I also like live because of the banter. I love when the bands talk to the crowd and they just between songs they say a couple things. Sometimes it's very like mundane, like how's it going, Chicago? And that's cool. Whatever. It at least makes that connection. But I also like when they say unique things at different sets. Anyway, I don't know. Music is great, and I'm gonna try this song with a pick this time. Once again, this is part of the learning process. And this is what learning a song looks like. It's like learning a song is about fucking up and make mistakes, and then after a few tries, I mean, like I said, these bands, they'll be in the studio for weeks, months. I mean, you think like people say Nirvana songs are simple or whatever, and fine. I mean, they're not all this shredding stuff, and it's not Beethoven or whatever, but sometimes you can lay it down in a couple days, a week, 1 or 2 weeks. Dave Grohl's really good in the studio. They do it in a couple weeks, but dude, it's not unheard of. I mean, Led Zeppelin, being recording for like an extended amount of time, but that's what art is. Like, why do you have to say you have 1 day to paint the picture? No, the picture gets painted, when it's done. That's when the picture's done. 8 weeks, 2 years. I mean, art is not about time. But Anyway, let's try this one. We'll do it live. This time I'm gonna try it with a pick. So I have a pick this time. So let's see how it goes. Gotta make sure I got sound. Okay, a couple controls. All right. So, it's a process.